half boards, up to Singlinger for the Bucks. Turnover, both direction. Here comes the Bucks, 2-on-2, coming back the other way. Shot, score! Yeah, baby, yeah, baby, yeah. The Buccaneers making a 3-1 hockey game. 1:43 left in the third period.
And that's Zielinski, his first USHL goal.
Zielinski with his first USHL goal. On the turnover, 2-0 coming back the other way. And for a second there, I thought they weren't going to get a shot off.
Hey everyone, Ryan Sykes here back with another episode. It's Sunday, May 11th, Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, including mine, who will never see this. My guest today is Blake Zielinski. Blake is a 5'11" forward for the Des Moines Buccaneers, who joined the team in November of last year. As a 16-year-old, Blake recorded 13 goals and 32 points in 41 games. He finished as the 8th highest scoring rookie, despite playing in far fewer games, and was named to the All-USHL rookie team. Without further ado, let's bring him in. Blake, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. I appreciate you hopping on. How's everything going for you these days?
Everything's good. Just finally good to be back at home and just enjoy everything going on here. So
You're from New Jersey, right?
yeah,
Okay, okay. Have you been able to, I guess, follow the NHL playoffs at all?
I have. Yeah, I was just watching the Toronto game going on right now, so I had to just come down here and turn it off. But yeah, I've been following it.
I haven't turned that one on tonight. Who's winning that one tonight?
I think Florida was up 1-0 last time I checked, so I think it was going into the third or second or one of the two.
Okay, okay. Um, do you have a favorite NHL team?
So my favorite team is the Flyers. I'm only about 20 minutes from Philadelphia, so just growing up, just watched those guys. Actually got into hockey from watching them, and yeah, just fell in love with those guys.
Do you have a favorite player of all time?
Uh, yeah, I'd probably say Claude Giroux. He was just one of the main guys from Philly, and the captain. He was always the guy that was leading the charge. So, I'd probably say him. Yeah.
Okay. For those who I guess don't know who you are, your style of play, what type of hockey player is Blake Zielinski?
Yeah, so I think I'm just like a 200-foot player. I try and do the right thing, make the right plays. And I'm just gonna compete, go out every night, do my best. If I'm not scoring one night or maybe not producing, I like to start playing a defensive game and start hitting, getting checks, stuff like that. So, but no, I love to take over the game, make plays, and just do the right thing on the ice.
I know you mentioned Claude Giroux, but is there a player that you model your game after?
Yeah, so I think right now, um, Matthew Knives has been one of the
Mhm.
guys, plays on Toronto in the playoffs right now. Younger guy, came into Toronto not too long ago, kind of like me, just going into Des Moines. But just being able to kind of see the role he plays right now with Toronto, I kind of just like to try and model it around him and just the way he can score and make plays. And he's also a very good defensive player.
Tri-City Storm alum. Um, I guess, coming into this, we're in the off season now. How would you kind of assess your first season in the USHL as a whole?
Yeah, no, I think my first season was honestly a good success. It was tough coming in, 20 games in, with new teammates, new guys I didn't know. But overall, I think I really adjusted well and finished out the year really well.
I know you were the number 3 overall pick in the USHL Phase 1 draft. Really the first pick, if you kind of remove the tenders. Um, what was your reaction to the pick? How did you learn of it? And some of the players, they're just like they're on the golf course and they get a text, but I don't know, were you watching the draft show at all?
Yeah, so I was watching with all my family. So actually before the draft, I went out to Des Moines, skated with the team for about 3 or 4 days. Because Curls was on me, wanted me to get out there, see how I liked it. So I always had a little bit of an idea. Didn't know if it was going to be, the first pick, as many people say, or whatnot. But
Mhm.
no, I was just enjoying it with my family, watching it on the couch, and then saw my name pop up. So that was really awesome.
Was the plan? I guess what was the plan for you kind of going into the season? I know it's a little bit different for some of the higher end guys that get taken, top 5 in the phase 1 pick, or versus, later on, it's kind of, we'll see how you do and you'll join later in the season.
Yeah, for me, so it was almost just like I'm gonna go out to camp, kind of see how I play and adjust to the pace. I honestly didn't have one of the best camps ever. I think I only had like one goal, so I didn't do the best, but kind of to see how it was. And then kind of after that, going into my season with North Jersey Avalanche, if I was going to be playing well, doing all the right things, the plan was pretty much to see how I was doing, and then they would try and get me out for a few games, see how I played, and then just go from there.
Did you kind of, I guess, come to the realization that you didn't have a good camp? Obviously I didn't see it, but I guess what kind of makes you say that in terms of, aside just from the production, did you just kind of feel like maybe you needed a little bit more time?
Yeah, I feel like I just rushed myself into it. Maybe didn't give myself enough time to prepare, as I should have. But no, I mean that stuff's gonna happen too. So I didn't really take much, offense to it to myself and
Sure,
whatnot.
sure.
Still knew I had a big chance to go play in the middle of the year. So I just worked hard after that and did what I did.
I was going to say, was that kind of like a built-in motivation factor for you to, get off to a great start with North Jersey?
Yeah, it was good because and then even in the summer after camp, I went out to the USA camps too, and ended up didn't play too good, and whatnot. Didn't make the Five Nations team, so that kind of just added another level of, I got to work harder, got to do better. So going to that year, I was really pumped up and kind of just wanted to prove some people wrong.
Sure, sure. And you certainly did that with 11 goals, 22 points, your first 13 games with North Jersey. Where'd you kind of see the biggest jump in your game versus the previous season?
Yeah, I think just getting faster and stronger. And I knew that was going to be very important if I went on and played in the USHL, just because you're playing against guys 4 years older than you. They're stronger, they're bigger. So it started the year before in the summer. Just I wanted to get stronger, I wanted to get more powerful. So when I was just playing well, I knew I had a good chance.
What were kind of the conversations like between you and Des Moines leading up to your debut, November 11th?
Yeah, so
I'm
I
sorry,
actually
excuse me,
wasn't
November
even
8th. Sorry about that.
I wasn't
November
even
8th.
supposed to play that game. Funny
Yeah.
story. I just went out for the week, trying to get my feet under me, see how I liked it, try and meet the guys and stuff like that. And then I think they ended up having an injury somewhere down the week, and I got thrown into the game. So it was all really quick. It happened probably in a day that I knew I was going to be in the lineup. But no, it was fun, and then kind of just very surprising because it was just a big, big, big deal.
I guess that explains kind of the month-long break, between your November 8th debut and then starting again pretty much full time, December 5th. Um, were you able to kind of reflect on that first game? I guess in that month, what were kind of your takeaways from the style of play? Just, I guess everything that went through your mind then.
Yeah, so in that game, in my debut game, I was the extra forward, so I knew I
Uh-huh.
maybe wasn't going to get the most playing time, but when I did, I just tried to make plays and stuff. But just seeing those guys on the ice, seeing how fast they make plays, seeing just how powerful they are, and stuff like that. So in that time, I just kind of went back to North Jersey and just worked on that stuff, worked what I needed to do, and then come when I went to Rochester and played, I knew what it took to play full time.
Do you have a little bit more advance warning the next time you were called up?
Oh yeah. I knew I was gonna play coming out for the whole Rochester trip. And then when I was back in full time, that was one of the main things. Like, was I gonna play? And Curls made sure that I knew I was gonna play. So that was big.
And I don't know if that, sometimes just going in with a little bit of expectation of what to expect, for lack of a better phrase. But you got off to a decent start, points in 3 of the first 4 games, including your first USHL goal. How cool was that moment for you just to have it under your belt?
It was awesome. I kept talking in practice to the guys like, I just can't score. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I just want the first one to get it out of the way. And then in that game, just on the bench. One of the guys was like, just don't think about it, just play your game, and then ended up scoring in the third period at the end of the game. So
Yeah, it was.
finally big to get it out of the way, and then they just kept coming. So it was awesome.
And I was going to add to that, it was kind of a big goal for not only you, obviously the first goal, but for your team because I believe Dubuque had just scored to cut it to one. So you kind of restored Des Moines' 2-goal lead, and I think I forget who scored the third goal, but it ended up being like 3-1 final.
Yeah, no, it was huge. I just know like all the guys were super pumped up, and I think it kind of added just another level of like, all right, we got to just close it out and finish the game off, and then it just ended up working out. So that was huge.
I guess for not only myself, but maybe the fans watching, but how did you land on the number 42 for your sweater?
So there's a story going along. I think past couple of years now, where like the guy who comes in middle of the year has to wear it. So the guy on the team right now, Connor Buick, he wore 42 for a couple of his games. Past Buck, Edison Engel wore 42 for some of his games. So I had no idea that I was getting that number when I first came in, but I learned pretty quickly that I was sticking with that number for the whole year. That I just cherished it and kind of just went with it. And hopefully fans just realize that, it'd be a short time number. So I'm going to change going into next year.
Do you have a number in mind for next year?
I'm gonna go with 10. Kind of just like how it looks. And then
Yeah.
maybe so. Yeah,
It is funny though, some of these numbers that the players pick, I look at, I'm from Geneva, Illinois, so I see a lot of the Steel, the local team. So, Macklin Celebrini obviously came through here and came up with 17, flipped to 71 at BU, and now he's 71 with the Sharks. So it's just kind of these like numbers that you land with, but hey, that looks good on me, but I'll flip it for, for going
yeah,
forward.
yeah. I think like
Um,
in this a lot of the summer. Oh, sorry. A lot of the summer tournaments I put on 10. So it was kind of cool to finally like feel that I'm gonna be able to use that number for the whole year.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's something to be said about, you look good, you feel good, you play good, right? You like the number that
Yeah.
you're playing with, so kind of translate to the ice. So, uh, you kind of mentioned it at the top of this, but it looked like you started out playing, maybe in a bottom six role or even as the extra forward, but you moved your way up the lineup pretty quickly. How much did it kind of mean to you to have that coaching staff or the trust from the coaching staff to play in like a top six role and a meaningful role?
Yeah, no, it was huge. Just even just moving me up one spot or two spots in the lineup just gave me so much more confidence because I knew I had to go out there and play the right way every day, no matter what, no matter where I was in the lineup. But it just freed me up to play more of my style of game, kind of just make more plays and not be so afraid to make a mistake. And those guys giving me that opportunity really really pushed me over the edge, I think.
And admittedly, I don't know where you played in terms of the lineup with North Jersey, but I know that you primarily played along the wing in Des Moines. Do you feel more comfortable along the wing or down the middle?
Yeah, I think right wing kind of just opened up the ice for me a little bit more. And then obviously Jack Kernan was playing in the middle with me for most of the
Yeah.
year, so I didn't even feel like I needed to play center at all or cared about it. No, just being on the wall was fun. Just easy to collect pucks off the wall, stuff like that, and then being on my strong side, going up the ice was huge.
How was it playing with Jack? I know he's a recent commit of North Dakota, so
He's fun. He's fun to play with. He's a character, I would say. In practice, he just wants the best for me. We always talked about. He said like, I know you have so much, so I'm just gonna push you so hard. So, there'd be times where we get mad at each other for making a bad play and whatnot, but we just wanted the best for each other, and I think we really worked off each other, and it led to games because we scored a lot and we made plays, and it was fun when that happened.
that's great. That's always that's good when you can have someone else kind of just push you, and I'm sure it pushed him as well to be better, just for you scoring and whatnot.
Yeah, it was awesome. Just every play, every chance we made, and we just made the most of it. And it just translated practice to games, just doing our best, and then it showed up on the score sheet.
And I know you played a little bit here and there with Ben Keevan. What was it like playing with him? I know he's been with Des Moines for a better part of 2 years, but he kind of finished the year with the NTDP and their international run there.
Yeah, it was fun playing with Ben. It's pretty easy playing with him, knowing the amount of plays that he can make just so effortlessly. Just find yourself in the right area and he can find you. But I think we didn't score very much, honestly. It was kind of surprising. I just enjoyed it. I lived with Ben, so just having that experience of playing with each other was amazing.
Are you and Jack kind of like poking at each other to like commit to Providence or him get you to come to follow him?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. I knew it wasn't gonna happen, but I try to just talk him into Providence, but he was saying he's not a big Hockey East guy, so kind of just to face the fact that he wasn't coming. But and he did
Yeah.
try and pull me over to commit with him, but just didn't work out.
And I saw you were listed a couple of times on the line chart as injured. What were you kind of dealing with in the middle of the season there?
Yeah, so in Waterloo, not even sure when, just kind of an awkward play. I went into the boards, wasn't really sure what it was, just on my side. Ended up finding out it was like an oblique strain. So like just out for like a week or so, just doing, watching practice, getting on the bike, doing band work was huge. But yeah, it was tough because I would get on the ice feeling good and then I would shoot one puck and it'd be like, I gotta get off. Like this it just hurts so bad. And then um, so it was tough in the beginning, missing the ice, just seeing all the guys, having fun, enjoying the ice, and just playing hockey. But at the end of the day, it was what was best for me, just staying off of it, and then finally coming back.
And I know that you had points in four straight to kind of close out your regular season. You earned also the USHL Forward of the Week honor, which was really cool to see. How huge was that for you to, as like from a confidence perspective, just going into this off season?
It was huge. I think like so we made a couple of uh, I wouldn't say we just made like uh just some stuff we wanted to do to finish off the year. So I think I
Hmm.
was sitting at around 26 points with 3 games remaining. I was like, all right, if I can get to 10 goals, that'd be awesome. Maybe 30 points, push it. So, I was just playing hockey, like just having fun, enjoying it at the end of the year. And then ending up really, really playing well towards the end. It just boosted me so well. And then, coming to the offseason, I just knew that like if I can make that, an everyday thing going into next year, it would just boost my, draft stock, stuff like
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
always kind of relying on that and just knowing how to get back to that game going to the year is going to be huge.
And it looked like the shot volumes were kind of, upticking as you were closing in there on the end of the season. I think you had a season high six shots on goal in your final game. Was that part of that final push for the points, or was that just um, a confidence thing from being with the team for that long, or even just like consistency playing, with the same line mates?
Yeah, I think it was all of those things coming into it. I really wanted to get to the 10 goal mark. So after that, I was like, it's pretty easy if I just shoot the puck and score. So I think that definitely helped my confidence as well. Just shoot the puck, gotta shoot the puck. If you're in a bad area, can't make a play, just put it on net. You never know what can happen. And then my dad flew out for the last 2 or 3 games, so he was on me about just shooting the puck, getting it on net. So I think it was a little bit of everything combined, and then it worked out. So that was awesome.
How would you say the Des Moines staff kind of maybe helped you develop this season? Where did you kind of feel that you felt the biggest growth in your game this season?
I think just being able to play so much. They put me out and played me so much and trusted me. So I think just being able to make plays like it helps so much when you have a coach behind you who cares for you and can put you on the ice whenever. And I think that trust between us just boosted every part of my game, honestly. And being able to make a mistake on the ice and knowing that I wouldn't get in trouble for it or necessarily wouldn't get benched for it was awesome. Just so I can play my game and just kind of enjoy hockey and just keep scoring and putting points up because I knew Crows had my back.
Yeah, and just on the media side, he's one of my favorite people to speak to in the league. I always enjoy our conversations. I watched some of, I guess, the Des Moines Twitter account posted, excuse me, some of his interactions with the Phase One picks this year, and he's calling them personally to tell them of the pick, like even before it gets on the draft show, which I just
Yeah.
think speaks volumes to his character and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just like the little things he does. Just coming into the rink every day, maybe he wouldn't be in the best of moods, but he would always, put on a smile or whatnot for the guys. And I think that just really helped everyone kind of just get through the tough days. And I think we had a stretch of like 9 games where we lost, but he would come in every day with a smile, like ready to get to work. And I think, a lot of that goes really unrecognized by a lot of people. And I think that's huge.
Yeah, and I mean, I said it just on paper. I thought Des Moines had one of the better draft classes, both Phase One and Two. So I'm really excited to see kind of it unfold in the next year or two. So I guess just having that first year of experience under your belt, what do you kind of you kind of got the lay of the land now? Where do you kind of plan to address areas in your game this off season?
Yeah, I think it just, ending the year so well and scoring so much, I think knowing just how to get to different areas, shoot the puck more, it'll all kind of work out. So, and then I think on the defensive side too, just knowing how well, like Jack Kernan played on the defensive side of the puck and stuff like that, and how he was trusted by the coaching staff. So just kind of knowing where to be, where to, make plays, where to put the puck. It just all helps going to the next year.
And we touched on Providence, but you committed pretty early, like right when the recruiting period opened. What stood out about their program was that did you always kind of want to go there, just going into your recruiting process, and we can maybe like what other schools were you kind of looking at?
Yeah, so starting off with the recruiting process, I think like I've always wanted to play in Hockey East. It's
Yeah.
on the northeast side. So kid like from Jersey is always wanting to play in the Hockey East. So that was one thing that jumped out to me. And then when I finally got out to Providence, just the rink and the facilities are just so nice and so well catered to the players, and um, it just really I can see myself playing there. And another thing was the coaches were really on me, and they were at all my tournaments, and you know talked to me after every game, and I could really feel that they wanted me there. And then I just fell in love with it when I went out there.
Yeah, and we can wrap with this one, and I do appreciate your time today, but I think maybe it was just with the ever-changing landscape of junior hockey, I think most fans want to know, are you planning to come back to Des Moines next year? Because I asked because you were taken in this year's OHL draft.
Yeah, no. So I'm planning on coming back. I'll be at camp. I think it starts June 6th, so I'll be out there
Mhm.
and just ready to go. And I'm very excited. And yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It's a very short off season kind of, they get through the draft and then it's a couple weeks and they're right back to it.
Yeah, like I was talking to my parents, like the guys who are in the Clark Cup finals right now. It's just like it's got to be so hard to just like barely get any time off, and then you're right back at it. So you know, it's finally good to get some time off, but you definitely have to get right back to work.
Well, hopefully we'll see you guys there next year. But yeah, Blake Zielinski, everyone, I very much appreciate you hopping on. I'm glad we could finally connect and do this. This was awesome for me. So thank you, Blake.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for everyone for watching this. Thanks again, Blake.